Welcome to another episode of SempreInterTV with me, Fabio, and Jake. This evening we're going to look back on that 2-1 win for Inter against Verona, that really important 7th win out of 7 for Inter in the league that puts them temporarily top before the Milan game this evening. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and let us know what you think in the comments below. I feel like we're just repeating history here. This first half is just like many first halves we've seen this season against so many sides. Inter looked good, they looked solid, they looked like they wouldn't concede anything apart from the one DiMarco chance, but I mean it's a given. Every time an ex-player plays against us they're going to get a chance, if not a goal. But aside from that, Inter looked very much in control of the game. They didn't really venture forward too much. They had one decent effort from Lautaro that possibly should have gone in, but it was a good save by Silvestri, who's in good form anyway. But this Verona side were very difficult to break down in that first half, and I think Inter sort of edged their way into the game as we've seen so much these last few weeks, and I think they're just trying to get through to this Christmas break without conceding much, without giving too much away, and trying not to sort of forfeit too much in the first half of a game and really go for it in the second half. So I think this first half is a carbon copy of what we've seen many times in the last few weeks. So all in all, okay, but it's one of those games that I've started to enjoy because it's what we're going to expect now, and it means we get the points in the end, hopefully. So it's it's an interesting tactic that Conte's bringing in, but this first half we've seen many times before, and everyone looks like they know their game, and especially with a slightly new formation this time, setting out with this sort of 2 behind the 1 formation at the top, with Perisic coming in behind Lukaku with Lautaro as well. Perisic was involved a bit. You could see the sort of counter-attacking threat that he brought, that pace sort of in the middle that we lacked if someone like Gagliardini had started, or even Eriksen. Hasn't really had that sort of punch, that sort of final breakaway in the final third. So Perisic, we saw that a little bit in that first half. But yeah, so it's sort of a carbon copy of what we've seen before, and a very interesting first half from someone's perspective, I'm sure.
Strong second half. Did well to come back after what was a really ridiculous goal to concede from the error from Handanovic. I've no idea what he was doing for that one. Pretty tame cross. Nobody really near him. You could argue that Skriniar probably could have cleared the ball away, but I've no idea what he was doing goalkeeping wise, and that made it quite difficult. For me, Verona didn't really deserve a way back into the game. Inter looked quite comfortable at 1-0. It looked pretty straightforward, but that setback, it was something that Inter did to themselves, and they did quite well to come out of that. Really well taken goal by Skriniar as well. Really well placed header. His first goal for over 2 years in the league, which I wasn't aware of until tonight. So that's really encouraging, and he deserves that himself as well. He's been playing really well over the last few weeks. Almost back to his best that we saw him play like under Spalletti. So he deserves that, and ultimately it's 7 on the bounce now. They can get a good, well-deserved rest over Christmas, and first game back, Crotone at home. You'd like to think they can make that 8 out of 8, but he's hoping for a slip up from Milan, and we can see Inter top at Christmas. But ultimately, I thought second half was pretty good. Not very exciting, just sort of gritty. But sometimes you need to win games like that, and Inter becoming masters at that at the moment. They're pretty comfortable when it comes to seeing out these games against lower opponents. And what's important is 3 points at the end of the day. You'd like them to put a bit more verve, a bit more excitement, but you'll take a win no matter what. Big shout out to Hakimi as well. I thought he was really good. He deserved an assist at the end. For whatever reason, been known to man in the head of Piero Giacomelli. I don't know why, but either way, he gives into a really good attacking outlet on that right hand side, and he's starting to add goals and assists to his game at the moment. He's almost into his best creative force. So if they can get somebody in the middle of the park that can help him out a bit more and share the workload of creative output, that'd be really helpful. But ultimately, 3 more points. That unbeaten run against Verona continues, and Merry Christmas.
Top for me this evening is a tough one. I don't think there was a complete outstanding performance by any one player in the team. I think they were quite compact, quite solid as a unit, and I think played together as an 11. There's a couple of honourable mentions I think I want to give. Lukaku, for example, played exceptionally well as always. The link-up play was fantastic. The sort of just holding up play, everything. He brought everyone in the team together, I think, from the top, and it was unfortunate to have a goal disallowed at the end. And his battle against Magnani all game, he should have been booked earlier on than he did, and potentially given away a penalty as well in the second half. So Lukaku had a fantastic game as always, and was just unlucky not to have that goal at the end. I still don't know why that goal was disallowed. So we'll find out. We'll let Twitter decide on that. But yeah, so I think Lukaku had a fantastic game. I think Hakimi on the right was brilliant. He found some space, and especially in that second half, obviously he got the assist for the first goal, but looked good. But I think for me, I was looking at the defence anyway. We looked quite solid throughout the game, and I think for me, getting the winning goal and some important tackles, I think Skriniar for me was the top tonight. And to look solid, and he's come back since that COVID sort of 3 or 4 weeks out that he had early in the season. He's come back. He's looked more and more solid every single game. And this back three for Inter has just become more and more well formatted, well gelled, and has become a unit. And the chemistry is just building between the three. And I think tonight all three of them were fantastic. Bastoni bringing out the play as well from the left. De Vrij just absolutely solid in the middle, wasn't like anything past him. But I think for me tonight, Skriniar, just that goal edged it for him. His first goal in 3 seasons as well, in 3 years. So I think I've got to give it to him tonight.
Flop could be one or two people. From an Inter perspective, it's got to be Handanovic. A massive glaring error for the goal. An absolutely outrageous mistake. As bad a mistake as I think I've seen a goalkeeper make for a while. Definitely the worst mistake I've seen Handanovic make in nearly 10 years at Inter. So, really, really disappointing at a point in the game where Inter looked really, really comfortable. Looked like nothing was really going to sort of faze them. They were going to sort of coast to a simple win, maybe a clean sheet. And he just completely threw the game back into the balance again. Really, really poor error, and just underlines the fact that he needs to replace him. His best days in blue and black are behind him, I'm afraid. And it pains me to say that, but it's becoming more and more obvious by the week that could ultimately have cost Inter 2 more points if, Skriniar had come back with that really, really good header. But yeah, my other flop would be the referee for that absolutely scandalous decision to rob Romelu Lukaku of a goal at the end. Into 2-on-2, Hakimi rolls the ball across the face, Lukaku's tapped into an empty net, and the final whistle's already blown for no reason whatsoever. The game's over, but we see it happen a lot of the time. A team pushes forward trying to get a goal, and someone hits them on the counter with a late goal to seal the win, and 99.9895% of the time they're allowed to do that, but for some reason Piero Giacomelli doesn't like to let anybody have any fun. So really, really disappointing to not have another goal for Lukaku to take him into double figures, and to get Hakimi a deserved assist, because for me he was man of the match tonight. He was really, really good. But from an Inter's perspective, they need to be looking at replacing that goalkeeper. One of the players that I'd look at to replace him would play tonight in the Hellas Verona, Marco Silvestri. So that needs to be looked at in January. Along with a creative midfielder and a better left-sided fullback. I thought Ashley Young didn't have his best game tonight. He's starting to show his age a little bit for me. But yeah, my flop ultimately has got to be Handanovic from an Inter perspective, but that referee.